It's one thing to have the support of your countrymen and the goodwill from different parts of the world, and yet be constantly reminded of history and the truth in the realities surrounding you and the circumstances of your future and your existence as a leader of a country like Burkina Faso right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if it's just me, but I worry about the life of the president of Burkina Faso all the time, seeing how evil the world is and how unknowable and unpredictable the minds of people or friends can be over time. President Ibrahim Traoré is surrounded by his colleagues, soldiers, his friends, family, and his overall security. But he's also surrounded by politicians, ladies and gentlemen, business people and enemies who he may mistaken as friends. On any given day, when the price is right and the circumstance is ripe, people from the same groups I've just mentioned may turn on him like they did to Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso and Dr. Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. This is the concern for which I've chosen to do this episode. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. Burkina Faso in the last 2 years has gotten more popularity and attention than any country in Africa. It is the most searched country on the internet right now. Captain Ibrahim Traoré is more than just the youngest African or president or head of state currently. He is a symbol of resistance, of defiance in the face of neocolonialism, and of hope for the better tomorrow of Africa. Since taking power in 2022, he's led Burkina Faso with a clear message. Africa must stand on its own 2 feet. In a continent where true leadership feels rare, one man on a mission, standing tall with courage, pride, and a bold vision, has carved out a new course for his country in spite of the avalanche of opposition. Captain Ibrahim Traoré has challenged the status quo. He has called out the failures of democracy imported from the West. He's asked a very powerful question. What country ever developed under democracy imposed from outside? He asked. Questions not even the most learned of our leaders could ever ask. So, in view of the circumstances surrounding his ascension as head of state of Burkina Faso, the question now arises as, how does he protect himself from politicians and business people whose plans and agenda for themselves and their businesses may have been truncated or affected by his presidency? Ladies and gentlemen, let's not be naive anymore. Our favorite leader and president is constantly under attack and therefore needs our prayers and support. Let me take you back in history for a minute. Ghana's first president and the most beloved of all, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, may his soul rest in perfect peace, in spite of all the tremendous developmental project he was doing for our country Ghana and for the rest of Africa, and his leadership to gain independence, he still wasn't immune from attacks. He survived at least 5 assassination attacks until they finally succeeded in a coup to oust him when he went on a trip to Vietnam. Similar thing happened to Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso on October 15th in Ouagadougou when his own right-hand man assassinated him. Looking at the speed of development Ibrahim Traoré is bringing to his country without his need for foreign aids or loans and without the involvement of Western countries is in itself the number one reason the West would want him to fall. Bear in mind, before he came in, the gold mines in Burkina Faso were completely in the hands of Western companies. Since he took over, he's built one of the country's finest refineries and made changes to percentages to the country, now holding a significant shares in all the mining companies in Burkina Faso. This is definitely not favorable to the Western companies, ladies and gentlemen. For instance, in Ghana, almost all the richest gold mining sites and concessions are in the hands of foreign companies. Sad truth. For decades, they have been here and have figured out ways to keep successive governments out of their business. And as of September 2022, the government of Ghana had sold out all our equity and now holds zero equity in Anglo Gold Ashanti mines. This is how bad the situation is in Ghana, ladies and gentlemen. This explains why a leader like Ibrahim Traoré is genuinely admired by me, because he comes in and wipes the slate clean. He removes those he needs to let go and brings in a new team. Take, for instance, in October 2023, Lieutenant Colonel Evran Somda, the Chief of Staff of the National Gendarmerie, whose job was to maintain public sector order, security and enforcement of the law in the country of Burkina Faso, was dismissed following the arrest of officers suspected of involvement in a plot against state security. That is leadership. Followed by that was the Foreign Minister Olivia Ruamba. Ruamba was relieved of her duties on December 18th, 2023. And on December 2024, Prime Minister Apollinaire Joachim was also removed from his position. So he definitely has enemies whose desire is to see him fall. Now, let's ask ourselves the most important questions, ladies and gentlemen, and be honest with yourself. If you were in the shoes of Ibrahim Traoré, if you knew the circumstances surrounding your presidency and the gorillas out there to get you, what would be your surest bet to provide security for yourself and your family? What would you do different from what Thomas Sankara did to guarantee your safety? Let us know your response in the comment section. Now, in addition to having his trusted people around him in terms of the military, the people of Burkina Faso must also appreciate and understand how this man has chosen to sacrifice himself for the betterment of his country, and therefore do their part in providing security for him. I have an older video where I listed his achievement since he took over power, which I will encourage you to go back and check out. At least for the first time, Burkina Faso is into electric car manufacturing, which is what the sub-region actually needs. We have an overwhelming free supply of solar energy throughout the year, and hence it makes sense to invest in related technologies. Just watch this video about the Itaoa electric car from Burkina Faso. Check it out. Beautiful, and a step in the right direction. From there, he can move into solar panels to power homes and for mechanized farms. This is true leadership, ladies and gentlemen. He's just an amazing human being with sincere love for his country and people. All of Africa could use such a personality, especially now in these crazy times. God bless Ibrahim Traoré and the womb that bore him. Remember, folks, to subscribe and click on the notification bell to support this channel. There are some other videos about him which you can also see. I'll come your way again with another one. Until then, God bless Africa, and it's bye-bye for now.